Don't be afraid, guys, to be a tourist. You have one day in Porto. What do you do? Well, this is my first time here, and I am gonna show you around the city and see it with you for the first time. But I'm not actually starting our day in Porto itself. I am just down the road in Foz. When the weather is better, it's a great place to go to the beach, walk along the promenade, or at any time have a great meal. There are tons of restaurants here on the seafront. So grab your coffee and we're gonna go explore along the waterfront. Let's go see what we find. Apparently, Foz has been inhabited since the Paleolithic era, but since the 19th century, it's been known as a holiday destination for the wealthy. So this is a very posh area, and some of my friends told me that it actually wasn't connected to the rest of Porto by the metro, allegedly on purpose. And it's only about 10 minutes from the city, so you can very easily come down here for an hour or so, take in the sun or the wind or the rain, whatever's going on the day that you're here, and do some shopping, dining, and just lounging about. That's one of the best things to do here in Foz. So these are some of the oldest rock outcroppings in Portugal, so let's check it out. I feel like we're going into the secret garden. Paleolithic rocks, people. We're here. Yay, sun. There's also a lot of viewpoints out here, so you can see the lighthouse and all along the coastline here. If you look on your map, you'll see a lot of scenic spots where you can take pictures. One of the popular things to do here in Foz is just to walk around and kind of take in the architecture and the buildings, do some shopping. And one of the things that I learned on the worst tour here in Porto that I did a couple days ago is that because everything is granite here, the houses are kind of built into the hills, and the construction workers would just drill down as far as they could, and that would be the base of the house. So as you're walking along, you'll see doors that are of different heights, and that's because the basements are of different heights, and they're just trying to line up the doors with the level of the floor and the street. So if you see a lot of unique doors of different heights, that's why. If you're here during the week, except on Sunday, you can visit the Mercado de Foz, which has all types of different little shops, restaurants, produce and goods. So I always love checking out the local markets in cities because I think you get a really good sense of the people, the culture, the foods. Definitely check it out if you're here not on a Sunday. Okay, since there's no metro, we're in the Uber and we're gonna go head down into the center of Porto. And the Uber is about €7 or €8. We've now made it to the center of Porto and we're gonna walk down Rua Santa Catarina to the São Bento train station, which is a must see here in Porto. And don't be afraid, guys, to be a tourist. I am touristing it up today. I'm not an expert on this city, so in my rental property, the owner left this guide and I read the whole thing already, but I brought it with me, and normally I wouldn't be like reading my guidebook out on the street because it's like, hey, tourist here, but it's pretty quiet out today, so don't be afraid to bring a guidebook or obviously a guide on your phone, and make sure that you don't miss any of the really important sites. So on this street, you can see a lot of the most important sites in the city, and you can also do some shopping along the way. You've got the Mercado, you've got lots of little stores where you can buy a souvenir, and it is a great place to see a lot of things in a short amount of time. So let's go. You know, before I got to Porto, I wasn't sure what to expect. I've been to Lisbon a couple of times and people were kind of telling me there's a little bit of a rivalry between Lisbon and Porto, and it's kind of like you're either a Lisbon person or a Porto person. So I was kind of expecting to enjoy the lifestyle in Lisbon more, but now that I'm in Porto, there's a really cool, like kind of laid back vibe. It's like a city with a small town feel, and it just kind of feels like more laid back than Lisbon, a slower pace of life, but you still have all of the amenities and restaurants and anything that you could want. So the vibes today are pretty chill. There's some blues and jazz, like live music playing outside, and people are just kind of meandering around, and I'm loving it. As you're walking through Porto, make sure to stop and look at all of the beautiful churches and monuments and historical sites that you'll see everywhere. This in particular, this church is a really popular Instagrammable spot, so you got to make sure to get a photo here too. Whether you have an itinerary or a to-do list or not, don't be afraid to just do some spontaneous things if you see something that piques your interest along the way. Behind me is a very famous landmark here in the center, and that is the Majestic Cafe, which was built back in 1921 under a different name, but it's here today more as a tourist attraction than a restaurant, but it's a place where you can get a coffee, soup and salad, or a sandwich, and it's also closed on Sundays, but check it out if you want to see the oldest cafe in town. If you get hungry with all of this walking, then Rua Santa Catarina is a good place to grab lunch, but there are amazing restaurants throughout town, so you have plenty of options. I think one of the things that surprised me about Porto was that I assumed it was going to be mostly fish and seafood, but the local specialties actually aren't seafood. It's the famous francesinha, which is kind of a play on the French sandwich, and the name francesinha translates to little French girl, so it was inspired by that sandwich, and it's basically a sausage and meat with bread on top covered by a bunch of cheese and a sauce, so it's very heavy. Also, you can find sardines here, and the third specialty, which I am definitely not adventurous enough to try, is the tripa. So if you've ever eaten that, comment below, let us know how it is. If you want to get a panoramic view of the city, then you can climb the Torre dos Clerigos, which is behind me. So it's 240 steps to the top, and you can get a great view. So I don't know if we're gonna have time to climb it today, but definitely put it on your list. Behind us here is the historic train station of São Bento, and I have been waiting all week to go in here. I'm really excited because I heard that it's absolutely beautiful, and it is still a functioning train station today. So you can be like us, play the tourist card and just go in and look around, or you can also catch a train. Wow, this is beautiful. So construction finished on this train station in 1916. So it's got this really classic feel, filled with ceramic and glass, and a lot of the tiles actually remind me of the São Bento church. I just really love train stations in Europe. So nostalgic in a way. So let's just walk around and explore. So we've learned something new. These two guys were the first people to do an Atlantic air crossing from Lisbon to Brazil. And this is their 100-year homage here from 1922 to 2022. Fun facts. If you take the train from Lisbon to Porto, this is not the station that you would be at. So from here, you can go to some of the neighboring cities and towns, especially in the north. I see some trains to Aveiro right now, and also to Valencia. The sun has come out, so we're gonna continue our journey down this street that my friends from Expats Everywhere said is a great little walking street, and we'll see where we go from there. One of the things that I learned here from a local is that back in the day, people used to express their political views by the types of tiles that they had on the outside of their house. So if you were more of a loyalist or traditionalist of the ruling class and the monarchy, you would have blue and white tiles. And if you were more of a rebel and for the Portuguese, you would have green and red. And so here we have a building that is expressing itself with the Portuguese flag colors. So that's something to look out for as you are walking around and admiring the architecture. If you're looking for somewhere to stay while you're in Portugal, check out Flat.io, the biggest marketplace for midterm rentals. They have properties throughout Europe in destinations like Prague, Vienna, Poland, and of course, Portugal. I really like using Flat.io because they often have lower prices than the big vacation rental sites and low booking fees. They also have verified apartments with no security deposits on short-term stays, plus all-inclusive rates with utilities and Wi-Fi included. You can even check the internet speeds on most property listings. The connection at my apartment here in Porto was super fast. Use the link below this video to search properties for your next trip, and thanks to Flat.io for sponsoring this video. Now we have made it to Ribeira de Porto, which is actually where the city started, and it's also a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it's also a great place for nightlife. These areas, people stay out really late, and if you come visit Porto in the summer months, apparently the subway and the metro is open 24 hours on the weekends, so you can party as late as you want. This area is also really cool because when you are on the bridge or you are looking back at Porto from the river, this is where you see all of the colorful buildings. And those photos were actually what originally drew me to Porto, was this beautiful view of the buildings on the hillside from the Douro River. So here we are, we've made it. We're here where it's all happening. Another thing that you will most certainly come across on your day in Porto is a monastery or two. And from what I've heard, many of the monasteries were converted into other types of buildings, like governmental buildings after the Civil War. As you're walking around in Porto, the city's done a really good job of putting information, QR codes everywhere. So if you pass by a cool building and you want to learn more, just scan. We are now in Paseo dos Clerigos, which is very modern shopping area. So I really like the contrast in Porto of old and new. And we are going to one of the places that I am possibly the most excited about. If you can guess, drop a comment below. We have arrived to Livraria Lello, which is a very famous bookstore and has even allegedly been the inspiration for J.K. Rowling and some of her books, and as I feared, there is a long line outside to get in, so make sure to get your ticket in advance. So we're gonna see if we can get it here, but this became such a popular tourist attraction that they were forced to put in a queue because it was just too crowded all the time. But hey, it's for good reason, and we're being tourists today, so we're gonna go inside. Okay, it's very crowded. The good news is that your ticket to get in here will give you a credit towards buying a book. But when I think of bookstores, it's usually a lot more of a quieter and peaceful experience if you want to actually like browse books. So it could be a little stressful if you're actually here to buy a book, but if you're here anyway, you might as well buy one. Okay, let's go. Wow, I know why everyone wants to come here. It is beautiful. It looks like it's from a fairy tale book, like the Brothers Grimm or Disney or something. I'm getting pushed by tourists. But this bookstore was built in 1906, so it's probably the oldest bookstore that I've ever been to. I would say my best tip is to come really early in the morning, right when it opens, or really late before it closes to try to beat the crowds. This is so cool because they have so many classic books, from The Art of War to The Jungle Book and Alice in Wonderland, in like a little mini Most Beautiful Bookshop version. Super cute. Great gift. They say it's the most beautiful bookstore in the world, and I think they're right. The more you explore and the more little nooks and crannies and rooms that you find, you just notice more details, and it's very stunning. And even walking on the staircase, it's like the red carpet. Line or no line, that you come check it out. I'm a fan. We are saving the best for last, of course, which is the river and all of the activities that you can do around there. So this river Douro here kind of reminds me of the Danube River. I know they're totally different, but these are the vibes that I'm getting here at sunset today. So we're gonna take the scenic route and see if we can hop on a boat and see the river up close and personal. When you're ready to get a little breather from the city life, you can take a break in one of the many parks here in Porto. There is the Parque da Ciudad, which is the biggest, and here we are at the Palacio Cristal. And there's really nice views of the city here. It actually says that it is the best view of the city, so definitely make sure to stop by here during your day in Porto. And there's a rooster. So we have made it down here to the Rio Douro, and we are looking for a boat so we can go on the river and do a little scenic cruise. There's boats on both sides, especially over on the Gaia side where you can get in one of the more traditional boats. It is so picturesque here, it's just ridiculous. And we're so lucky that the weather cooperated. It's just been getting better and better since this morning. Just being here along the water with all the history, all of the colors of the buildings, people just whining and dining everywhere. We've got party boats going by. It's just a beautiful place to be, and it's a beautiful day. So if you've never seen this city, I highly recommend it. A point of confusion before I ever came to Porto was, what is the name of this place? Is it Porto or Oporto? And this has to do with the article in front of a word, whether it's male or female. So the question's gonna be answered right here, right now. Porto, yes. Oporto, no. Now you know. We're here, we're on the boat. We've made it, mission accomplished, so I can't wait to see the view of the city from the water. If you're looking to go on a tour here on the river, it looks like the boats leave every 30 minutes, and there's a lot of different providers here. We paid €15 per person for this one, and it looks like the prices go up to around 20 or 30 euros. Something that you must do before leaving Porto is either walking across or crossing the Ponte Luís Bridge. It is so beautiful, so scenic. Day or night, any time of day, make this trek over to Gaia, or if you're coming from Gaia, over to the Porto side. And over on Gaia is where you can find all of the port wine cellars. And actually something that I had a misconception before was that port wine is actually made in Porto, but it's made 100 kilometers north of Porto and it's stored here. So before the night is over here, we're gonna walk across the bridge. It's a perfect spot over in Gaia to have dinner before you come back over to Porto and hit the town over in the Ribeira district. We haven't talked that much about the food here in Porto, but it is such a foodie destination. And one of the great opportunities of something that you can do here is try a tasting menu somewhere. I had no idea what a tasting menu was when I was growing up, and the first time I ever got to experience one was actually in Panama because of the reasonable prices there. But for a menu that, let's say in the United States, could cost from $200, $400, but here in Porto, I've seen tasting menus from 50 to 70 euro per person. So if that's something that you would like to partake in, check out one of the restaurants in Porto. You can get a Michelin star dining experience without having to go to a Michelin star restaurant, but there's plenty of those in Porto as well. A lot of the just regular restaurants around town can have tasting menus on the weekends. So just look online, you can make reservations through Google Maps or one of, I think, fork.pt, and you can find some really amazing meals for really good deals. To end your night, you could either head over and catch an FC Porto game if you're into soccer or football. Make sure to drink a few Super Bock beers while you're there, which is the beer that is brewed here in Porto, or you can dance the night away over in the Gallerias and Ribeira district. However you choose to end your night in Porto, I hope you had fun hanging out with me today. I certainly had a blast. And if you're local or you've been here before, drop your Porto travel tips in the comments below and check out these videos here for more on living and traveling in Portugal.